Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/spookshow. Then go over to morbidlybeautiful.com as we are now part of the Morbidly Beautiful Podcasting Network.
In your life, there's a time for love. Oh, my bad, Emmanuelle, they've been breaking your heart, but I know that the tears define the choice to love or die.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the All-American Spook Show. I'm Josh and I'm joined here with Donnie.
Hey.
And the Professor Smoke.
I can't do it. I'm sorry.
No, we're doing it. We're just going to push through because fuck this. I'm not starting anything over. Because we're here for Cannon Fodder, which is awesome. We love Cannon Fodder, right?
God.
And we haven't done it since May, April or May, when we did Ninja 3: The Domination. Because we put the whole Cannon Fodder series on hiatus for the Spook Show Summer Disaster. So, what better way to welcome back Cannon Fodder?
Yeah.
Then, in one man's estimation, and I'm only one man, the worst movie I think we've ever watched on this godforsaken You know what? I quit. This finally did it.
Man.
This finally did it.
I don't know. I mean,
this sucks so bad that Austin Trunick, author of the Cannon Film Guide, basically, I found something better to do. I couldn't come on and say anything about it. So he's not, his usual Cannon Chronicles segment. He's not here. Yeah,
that's a first. By the way.
Except for remember we did 10 to Midnight and X-Ray Hospital Massacre. Yeah. But that was before Cannon Fodder. Those were right before, and then that's when that actually started the Cannon Fodder thing. But anyways, the point of Cannon Fodder is we talk about the classic film catalog from Cannon Films. So what we decided to do, starting with this, if I can spit it out, is we put 300 something Cannon titles on a wheel, and we even included the ones that were just distributed, not produced by Cannon. So you kind of go outside the parameters a little bit, like we did with Mannequin, right? And we put them all on the wheel, we spun it, and wouldn't you know it, it landed on Emmanuelle IV from 1984.
Wheel. Fuck the wheel. We're just going back now.
Yeah. We're just going to go back to previous methods because fuck this movie. God. And that's why Donnie's losing it and we're laughing just because, if nothing else, you gotta have fun.
Oh
because
my God,
once you start talking about the movie, there's going to be nothing but tears. So, woo! Emmanuelle IV.
It's a good thing it's been this long since the last Cannon, because we went from top-notch Cannon, which is Ninja 3: The Domination, to bottom of the barrel.
I mean, we knew at some point we were going to get to the dregs. You know what I mean? We had to get to the bottom, like you said, the bottom of the barrel, the shits of Cannon to get, to kind of get you back to when you're watching, I don't know, over the top level stuff. You're like, oh, brilliant, fucking Godfather, Yeah. When you're coming back to this, but Jesus, this movie. But
I guess that's one of the reasons why we went to the wheel, because, otherwise we'll just be kind of picking. We try not to pick the best of the best all the time. But, if we're just looking at it and picking stuff, we're still probably going to pick something that we somehow know or that we think is going to be halfway decent.
Yeah.
I think at least this way we have to do these shitball movies. So this is the only way to really, I guess.
So we can kind of savor the better stuff when it comes instead of blowing through all the best stuff. And then it's nothing but Emmanuelle IVs for the rest of I don't think Cannon Fodder would survive. All right, I'm done. That's enough. We would never make it to the end. So yeah, we gotta spread the wealth a little bit. So that's what we're here to do. But I know we're all itching to talk about it. We got lots to say. I think we're gonna have some fun here. This might be street trash level laughs. I think by the time we get to the end of this thing.
I don't know.
I hate that Will is not here. You're just getting, me and Donnie and Smoke here. So.
Yeah, even softcore couldn't even bring him out of witness protection.
You know what? He's still digging out of the rubble from the summer disaster. So we'll give him a pass. We left him back somewhere after The Thing or something. He's running through the fucking Antarctic trying to escape a creature of some sort. Anyways, he's the lucky one because we had to watch Emmanuelle IV. So before we dive in, let's go ahead and before we toss to the trailer, I just want to add we are a spoiler-filled podcast now. I don't know if this applies to this one in particular, but I don't know if anybody is going to be like, oh man, they fucking ruined Emmanuelle IV. But if they're, Frank or Chuck, if you're out there and you really wanted to watch it and you haven't, good luck finding a copy, boy, because we really had to dig to find a copy of this one. Like, fucking rental services don't even want to rent this movie out. Like, it was a small miracle. We had to perform some dark arts to watch this one, so I'll say that. But if you don't want to be spoiled, hit pause, go check it out. I don't recommend it, but go check it out. Come back and listen to the laughs with us because we're going to have a few. Also, we want to remind you to go over to aaspookshow.com. That's the center of the Spook Show universe where you can go through the podcast archives. Over on our YouTube channel, lots of cool stuff, like stuff that might appeal to you if you're listening to Cannon Fodder would be like Grindhouse Gutter, Video Vortex, series like that over there. Lots of cool stuff that we've already done. Lots of cool stuff coming. And, of course, next month is October. So we're going to be approaching the quote-unquote spooky season for us, right? Like we're going to be getting knee-deep into more horror and bigger stuff. And at the end of October on Halloween, it is our first. What the fuck is that? It is our 5th anniversary. Can you believe the All-American Spook Show is 5 years old at Halloween? So lots of stuff coming, lots of announcements to be made. aaspookshow.com is the place to find all that and then some. So also patreon.com/aaspookshow. All the Patreon content that we have.
Yeah, we're always working on, kind of new stuff and, always have a few surprises up the sleeve.
I think we've got too many ideas and too many surprises because that's what leads us to Emmanuelle IV when we poke the bear too many times and you land on this shit. So anyways, that's enough. Let's go ahead and toss to the trailer.
Here in a land where few have ever been, lives a woman whose name is a passport to a world of excitement. She's had adventures that others have only dreamt of. And now she is about to be reborn.
What we're thinking of doing is changing her entire appearance.
The doctor has worked miracles before, but this time he surpassed himself.
The woman's name is Emmanuelle. And this is her most bizarre and incredible adventure. Emmanuelle IV, the secret life of the world's most desirable woman. Share the excitement in Emmanuelle IV, a sensual new adventure starring Sylvia Christel.
Think about this very carefully, because afterwards, Sylvia, you won't be the same person. Never again.
And Mia Newgren.
Do you think I'm beautiful?
Emmanuelle is reborn in a form which will allow you to share her story.
What a chance that we met before.
Emmanuelle IV.
And really, just after listening to that trailer, that's enough. I think we could just. I'm done already. But let's go through the motions, gentlemen, shall we? I got some background information, but before I dig into that, Donnie, have you ever watched this movie before?
I have not. Yeah.
Smoke?
No.
Smoke, have you ever seen this before?
It might have been on Skinamax back today.
Okay, so you're not going to deny there's a chance that you might have seen this before.
I don't recall having and I'm pretty sure even if this had come on Skinamax and I was an adolescent teenager, I still wouldn't have found the excitement enough to watch it.
Yeah, maybe at first, and then you're like, oh, what the fuck is this? And then you just cut it off. So, even as a horned up teenager, you're like, nah, I'm good. Yeah. I can do better than this. I can do better than this. Ooh, the Sears catalog. And away you go. Yeah, I'd never seen this, obviously, and I wish to God I'd never had, but just wanted to get that out of the way before we dive in. There were no alternate titles, surprise, surprise, but this movie was released February 15th, 1984 in France. And then here in the U.S., it was released February 22nd, so a week later, 1984. It was produced by Elaine Saritsky Productions and Sarah Films, and it was distributed, of course, by Cannon Films. That's the reason that we're here talking about it, because this was not produced. This wasn't a Golden Globus production. This was not produced at all by Cannon. They just distributed it here in the U.S. and other countries. So I guess they get the blame for releasing this to the masses. Rated R. Surprise. Honestly, I'm surprised it's not rated higher than than R, like NC-17 or X or some shit. Although it didn't go quite that far, but still rated R. Total runtime 1 hour and 32 minutes. Jesus, that's about how long? How too long is that, Donnie? Hour and 32. What should they have shaved it down to?
An hour and 30 minutes too long. Because I stopped at 3 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
You do like rethink your life choices when you're just watching those opening credits. I'll give you that.
Yeah, like we joke about it, but geez, man, like 3 minutes in, you just want to end it.
IMDb is listed as a drama/romance. This was filmed in locations around Los Angeles, California, in Brazil, and a couple locations in Paris, France. It's sold, the only kind of box office, anything I could find, I couldn't find a budget or anything, but I'm sure it was done for like, $70 and a free pack of Twizzlers or something. I don't know. Because they paid them in sex. That's probably what they paid them in. But it did sell over 1.2 million admissions or tickets in France. So that tells you right there that it had to have broke over a couple mil or something, right? Like nobody, even in 1984, they're not getting in for less than $1. So you wouldn't think. So yeah. But that's all I could find. Like nothing here in America, although it did get released, but like I couldn't find any kind of numbers, no budget. It's probably even like the people involved are just like, yeah, it happened. I'm sorry. But no real information gets released on this. So that, in that regard, this one's rough. It was hard to find anything interesting to talk about until we get into the movie itself. It was directed by, there's actually two directors on this one. It was directed by Francis Leroy and Iris Latans. And now Iris Latans is uncredited director. So Francis Leroy is the only one that's like, yeah, I did it. The other one's like, nah, fuck, I was there, but that's about it. It's based on a novel by, or I guess, writing credits, novel by Emmanuelle IV. There's a lot of weird credits here because you've got the scenarios are credited to Francis Leroy and Iris Latans. So I'm assuming that means the sex scenes, the scenarios, like, you don't really script that out. If you're writing a script, it'd say sex here. So that's basically probably the extent of the script. Also, Leroy and Latans get credit for the adaptation and the dialogue. And then commentary is Marie de Surgis. So
yeah, we have her to thank for this.
Yeah, so it's weird writing credits though, right? Like they're usually not listed that way. It's like,
but like I mean that's how it's listed on IMDb. Yes, but why not just say scenario and adaptation, dialogue? Why separate it like that?
I guess so they could plaster Leroy and Latans' name on this as much as possible. Like these are the motherfuckers that did this. So you read every name every time. The cast. Sylvia Cristal plays Sylvia. Real original name there. Just going with her real name. Emmanuelle IV. That's funny in the credits, by the way. She's listed as Emmanuelle IV. I guess the fourth Emmanuelle. Mia Nigrin. Patrick Bachow is Mark. That's her on-again, off-again lover. The one she's trying to avoid the whole movie. Donna was played by Deborah Power. Like, almost none of these people went on to anything else. So that's pretty much your main players, right? And Sophie Berger played Maria. So that's it. Everyone else is just kind of like someone that is screwing or gets screwed somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
So, as far as background stuff, I mean, that's really about all I had. Did you guys have anything else that you wanted to point out before we dive in?
I actually did. You mentioned earlier about this movie being rated R, and kind of shocked that it wasn't NC-17 or whatever. But if you think right around the same time frame, well, give or take a few years, but Poltergeist, for as jacked up as that movie was, that was PG. Yeah. You know, you think about, you know, some of the elements there.
Now we did talk about
completely different thing.
In that rating episode, right, that we did a while back, Smoke, about this was around the time that they didn't have a PG-13, right? There was PG and an R.
Yeah. Oh, also they didn't have NC. At this time, they only had basically PG, R, and X. And you know, we talked about it, but there's really no such thing as triple X. So hardcore producers just kind of use triple X as a selling point.
Yeah, it's a gimmick.
So if you submit the MPAA, what was that?
That's a gimmick.
Yeah, it's a gimmick just to get people okay. Oh, triple X. Wow, that's, you know. But yeah, so really, it's X is the hardest you could get from the MPAA. But yeah, in PG-13, it was 1984. Some movies that came in that prompted it, which would have been Gremlins and Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. Those were the main ones that prompted them to come up with a PG-13 rating. But NC-17 was like, they wanted something besides an X, because X had the stigma of porn, so of straight up porn, you know, hardcore, whatever. So then they came up with the NC-17 a little bit later, and I can't remember what the year was for that. But Henry and June, I remember that might have been the first one, whatever year that was. Maybe I can be wrong, but that was near the beginning of it. So yeah, they didn't have NC-17 at this time, so it was either going to get an R or an X, and I guess MPAA was a little bit lenient because. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, we said it's not hardcore. These scenes aren't hardcore, even approaching that, and they're probably the softer of the softcore, maybe. So, but still, they're pretty racy for an R-rated movie. I would say. Yeah,
I mean, some of it, you know, like you could tell they kind of didn't, you know, give it full gas, so to speak. You know, like they were kind of there, and we'll talk about that. How it's like a lot of this is almost sex, and you can tell. You know, it's like. They're just kind of pretending like, hey, look, we're having sex, but not really, you know. Like,
also, I don't know anything out. I don't know. Well, I didn't look that deep into it to see if they had to trim it down. Like if they submitted to the MPAA and the MPAA said, hey, you know, this is an X, you'll have to cut some stuff out to get an R. I don't know. I don't know about that part of it. I would assume that's probably the case. Though.
I didn't.
If they
see
got legitimate R, they probably had to cut some of it down.
I didn't see a lot of that, like, you know, all right, you're going to have to cut this back kind of thing. But I did see something that apparently they did shoot some more hardcore, explicit scenes, which they just never used it.
Oh, they never used it?
I think they... Go ahead.
And it didn't even involve, like, some of the characters in the movie. Like, it's just like, here's some sex scenes we shot. Fuck it, we're not using it.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. That they do that sometimes. One movie that I can think of that they did that where they released a hardcore porn version of it, and use different actors in those scenes would be the one with Malcolm McDowell as Emperor Caligula. I don't know if you ever heard of that movie. Malcolm McDowell plays Emperor Caligula. Malcolm McDowell's not going to be doing hardcore porn scenes, so they got other actors to stand in to do some hardcore stuff, and then inserted those into the X-rated cut.
Yeah, you know, really the only one of note here that went on to any type of success before or after, right, was Sylvia Kristal. Like she had been in some stuff, I think even like previous Emmanuelle movies, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately, she passed away back in 2012, but yeah, she was in The Nude Bomb. Yeah, she had been in at least the first Emmanuelle and the third, without, you know, me taking a deep dive into her filmography. And then she was in some that came after. Yeah, she was in Emmanuelle too. She played in a lot of them, like even the ones following this. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 more Emmanuelle movies that she was in the years after this, which is funny the way this movie plays out, because she didn't even really play a big part in this movie. Like she's there at the beginning and then she just disappears because, you know, the plot of the movie. But yeah. I think even at this point she was just like, well, all right, this is the 4th one. This is some stupid shit. You know, I want to kind of bow out a little bit on this one, so she's not in it as much. And then I'm sure she probably came back around years later on when she maybe had hit some harder times as far as stuff that she was in. But she'll come back up in Cannon Fodder. I will tell you that, because she was in Lady Chatterley's Lover, another suckfest from Cannon, and I think some others. So.
That I do remember from Skin of Max.
Yeah. So yeah, this isn't the last time. We won't. Hopefully, we won't see any more Emmanuelle movies, but we will see her again for sure. I say as time goes on. So,
hey, you know, if we stick around, maybe we'll get to the 1994 Emmanuelle series, because around the time of 1994, when other things were going to space, apparently Emmanuelle was also in space. There's
Fuck it,
Emmanuelle in Space Series.
Why not? Now, I think this was the last of the theatrically released Emmanuelle movies, because the previous 3 and then this one, I don't think any other ones after that. I think they were all like straight to video, schlock. So like I think this is the last one that got any kind of level of, real film to it before before it went straight into the video vortex, so to speak. But oh God, I just spoke it into existence, didn't I? The other Emmanuelle movies will appear on Video Vortex.
Great.
Son of a bitch.
No,
we haven't missed.
You know what?
Whole slew of Italian Emmanuelle films. That
I'm the only one that has a password. I'm vetoing. No.
Yeah, I think you're right, Smug. I think a lot of those other ones that she was in, those were like Italian kind of ripoffs, right? Like they weren't quote unquote part of the main canon storyline here of these movies. Like they're just kind of like
Sylvia Crystal wasn't it? It was a character. It was an actress named Laura Jimser, or at least that was her pseudonym name. That was in those movies. So there was a slew of those. I don't remember how many of them there are, and they have nothing at all to do with other than I think she was a journalist. Because she was a journalist in this movie, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't think they really like. She goes to talk to somebody that looks like it's a newspaper guy. Like this is what I'm going to go do. All right, see you.
Yeah. And that we haven't even gotten to that, but the whole weird so she's doing this full body plastic surgery for what exactly? To do a story of some sort?
No. It's
never really clear. And then also that, like I said, I said this outside of the in our group chat thing or whatever, but the plastic surgery scene is fucking hilarious. It's just basically latex. She's laying on a not even operating table, just a normal flatbed table, and they coated her with her full body latex appliance type thing, and then they peel the latex off, and then all of a sudden she's got a new body. Right?
Hey, what do you know?
What is it? Hey, why it's Buttercup popcorn. Add some butter to hot popcorn. Mix it up, wrap it up. Buttercup is born.
It's delicious.
So nutritious.
It's a taste delight.
It's so munchy.
Crisp and crunchy.
You'll enjoy each bite. Eat butter-drenched Buttercup popcorn at its best.
Served in a king-size cup.
It beats all the rest.
For you, the listeners of the All-American Spook Show podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. So I hopped on over to audible.com, typed in Emmanuelle to see what would pop up, and what do you know? What do you know? We found some Emmanuelle-related items. We've got Emmanuelle by Emmanuelle Arsan. That is the book 1 of the Emmanuelle series. That one's almost 8.5 hours long. Donnie, what would be worse, watching this again or listening to the book version?
Oh,
I think reading the book version.
Yeah, I could tune out but if you ask me to read the book, fuck it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sending the hardcover over to you first chance I get. I'm gonna find a copy and ship it on over to you.
The fact that you have to acquire it.
Yeah, well, I would have to. I don't have it. I mean,
No, come on. You know.
Well, I've only got the second and third one. I don't have the first one though.
Probably the books are stuck together with the pages stuck together.
Don't be gross. We've got Emmanuelle II by Emmanuelle Arsan. That's book 2 of the Emmanuelle series. I don't know how many books there were. I'm not investigating. I don't care. Let's just assume that there were probably a whole series of Emmanuelle books, and some of those are available to you by going to audibletrial.com/spookshow. Again, that's audibletrial.com/spookshow for your free audio book. So now I'm going to hop on back over to imdb.com, and I'm going to click on plot summaries to see what pops up for old. Get it? Emmanuelle IV, what pops up? Donnie, you lucked out.
Don't be gross.
Sorry. There's only one. There's only one on here, so that's enough. So that means the internet was like, you know what? One description is enough. That we don't need any more. This was contributed to IMDb by Eric Conrad. It reads, in order to escape from her former lover, Mark, Sylvia goes to Brazil, where Dr. Santamo transforms her into the beautiful Emmanuelle. With this new identity comes a sexual awakening, which is complicated by her memories of Mark. As with other entries in this series, Jesus Christ, the plot twists provide ample opportunities to expose the characters. In other words, that's a nice way of saying, like, each line of dialogue just sets up the next sex scene. That's the nicest way I've ever heard that put. So I think for this, you have to start right at the beginning. And really, it's like what you were just alluding to, Smoke, a few minutes ago. It's like, it does seem a little bit extreme to have total plastic surgery just to get away from a dude. Like that, right? That's all she's doing. I don't think there's any more than that. It's just like, I love this guy, Mark, but he's not good for me. Fuck it. Total reconstruction.
And like I said, the way they do it is interesting, is different, right? I don't know how that would, like, they basically have plastered her with, I mean, either latex appliance or, I mean, in the plot of the story, it's supposed to be actual plastic surgery, but in reality, it's just like they slathered on some latex, let it hard, and then peeled it off, like a special effects guy would do.
I think somewhere in there, they're like, how long will this take? At least 2 months. And then, like, it's like 2 minutes later. Well, there she is. You ready to go?
Then I love how her motivation, she said, like, after that, they, beforehand, they get her this psychologist, right? It's supposed to be a psychologist, some sort of, like, the doctor says that she's going to have some emotional distress probably from this, full body makeover thing.
Reconstruction.
Or full body plastic reconstruction. And that they're going to have to pair her with a psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever.
Yeah.
And so they do that, right? And then the psychiatrist or psychologist or whatever is female and says, well, what do you plan on doing? Or well, I want to have sex with everybody in Brazil.
Yikes.
And then through the course of the movie, I guess she proceeds to have sex with everybody in Brazil.
Then she should have looked there and said, this is 1984, right? Things are pretty rough down here. Don't know if I'd want to do that.
No, she doesn't say that. She says, well, who am I to judge?
Yeah. Well, you got this new body. And that is part of the running theme, if you're trying to decipher anything from this fucking plot, is that she's like a 35-year-old woman who has had total body reconstruction, trapped in the body, not trapped, but like, basically her body now is like that of a 20-year-old, right? So there's some theme of like, now she's a virgin somehow because she's had fucking total reconstruction. So like, there's that going on.
Cool. Like, so, they put her hymen back together and everything.
Yeah, I guess so. No.
No, I mean, if you've had that reconstructed, are you really like a?
No, but okay. I mean, for shits and giggles, we can go with it. But still, it's like there's these weird dream sequence type things that happen. It's like Sylvia, which is Sylvia Cristal, teaching her new self, like, this is what you do. Select a man. There's just like this lineup of dudes with their peckers out. And she's like, select him. Now this is what you do.
And they're also in glass cases.
Yeah.
Too.
What the flying fuck was that scene? What the fuck was that? Well, was it in her head? Like she's teaching herself? Like, this is the way you pleasure a man. Get him to do what you want him to do. He will pleasure you. What the fuck was it? Like, and then, I love this. They don't use like a proper, like, film dissolve or anything like that you would normally see in a movie. It's like these whack ass pages, like the pages have turned. I guess that's this is based on a book. So there's a book that like opens and closes whenever they change scenes. So it's so intermittent. It'll literally be like, there's some dialogue like, I'm warring with myself because I love Mark. And then these pages will flip, and then there's just two people fucking in a jungle. and then the pages flip again, and there's a new scenario. Like, it's literally that bad. In some
choose your own adventure book.
Oh God.
Well, I mean,
where's the exit button?
Like the editing is so like, God, man,
it's bad.
It's
bad,
and it's literally like a zipper wipe.
Yeah, like it's like a book, but like somebody ripping the book in half, like, fuck this book, and then they just rip it, and then next page, that's what it's like. Fuck this. Fuck you, what's her name? Emmanuelle IV or whatever the novel. Next scene. Then she becomes Emmanuelle. Like, so she's had total body reconstruction. That's her name now. We can't refer to you as Sylvia. You are Emmanuelle. It's like extreme witness protection is what she goes into. Why? Because I guess the guy's a little douchey. He loves her too much. I That's it, right, Smoke? I mean, like you said, there was some reason. I don't think there was a reason beyond that.
I thought I heard, for some reason, I thought I heard in the beginning them saying something about a story. Like I thought she was a journalist, or I gathered that, and that she was doing something, or she was going to Brazil. Maybe not doing the full body reconstruction, but she was going to Brazil for a story. Maybe that was just the story she gave to her boss or whatever. To get the surgery. No, I just remember. I honestly, I didn't pay too much attention.
No, and maybe I was just maybe it's me because I was like, let me just get this over with, you know. So like, maybe I missed some key plot points, but you know, I don't think so. I do love. That reminds me too. I do love when she's at this party at the beginning of the movie. She's at this party and she sees the dude walk in, Mark, right? She just fucking takes off running down the street. You gonna go say anything to him, Sylvia? And then they just cut to her outside, just literally in heels, running down the road. Cab, taxi. Take me to a major reconstruction surgery place down in Brazil. Oh, I would assume, Donnie, this is probably one of your favorite scenes of the movie. You know, now she's Emmanuelle and she's discovering her sexuality and there's random sex going on everywhere. They go to like this party. It's just this random street party. It's like an orgy in there. People are just sucking and going to town in all corners of the room. She goes out of the room, this building, and there are two lesbians in a sewing factory, right? The only way I know that is because there's linen everywhere and there's a bunch of tables with sewing machines on them. And they're going to town on each other, and she's just like, you know what? Left, right, bucket. Wiki, wiki. She goes to town on herself. She's diddling herself over in the corner. I only assume that was one of your favorite moments, right?
How'd that go again?
Yeah, wiki, wiki. By the way, you notice like this is the non-sex sex type stuff. Like you question what's happening because she's like, wait a minute. She's watching this. She's touching herself, but she's not doing anything. She's just kind of cupping her junk.
Now,
you know what I mean?
granted,
like,
I didn't watch the trailer to this, but this would probably be something that would be in the trailer that would be like, oh, yeah. I've got to go watch this movie.
Freeze frame.
Oh my God.
New Emmanuelle. Whatever that horrible, horrible song was that they play over and over. New Emmanuelle. Oh man.
You know what? Dude, no one's going to listen to this episode.
Well, if they do, they're in for a treat.
Yeah.
They are in for a treat. I will also say this. Don't watch this movie. I want to say that again. Just listen to this. Trust me. Like, we're making this funnier than it is just by, joking about it. This movie blows ass. It's horrible.
This movie sucks.
Mark, the lover she's trying to avoid, he shows back up and doesn't know her. Like he should, right? She's like, he's going to know who I am. No, you look like a completely different person. He's not going to know. Sure enough, he doesn't know her. But somehow he instantly falls in love with her too, right? Because there's a little side thing there. But he just kind of disappears and goes away. Oh, okay. There's a lot of random scenes here. Like, a lot. But there were some that were key that I had to point out. The magician that shows up. What? They're at a party, and he hypnotizes her, right? Like, he's like, this one lady's like, hypnotize me. And then he sees her and he's like, no, I must hypnotize you, Emmanuelle. He hypnotizes her and then cut to her levitating. She is fucking levitating with clothes on, mind you, then cut levitating nude.
Yeah, and it's like a different perspective. It's just like, what? Okay.
What?
It doesn't make any sense.
Smoke, we need you to explain it, dude. I'm losing it.
I don't know. The only thing I can come up with in that is they thought they had this cool effect, and they're like, hey, I know what we could do here.
It was the day that, like, the wiring rig guy showed up for another Cannon movie, or another movie they were shooting, and said, hey, do you mind, Emmanuelle's over here. You mind rigging her up? Yeah, fuck it. Why are we doing it? Who knows?
And they probably set it up, like you said, for the magician in the clothes scene. They're like, what would be better is if she were naked. And then they just cut that scene off.
This is supposed to be a sexy movie. She should be naked. Oh, yeah, fuck yeah. Take your clothes off.
And it wasn't like the magician went, and her clothes went, because that'd been a cool effect too,
Yeah. Like, if he just, like, uses magic to strip her.
Clothes fly off.
If he'd used magic to strip her, that would have been good. No, instead, we just get this cobbled together weirdness of scenes and then the zipper wipe again. Fuck this book. Next scene. Okay, now this is another weird one. Right, not too long after that, I think Emmanuelle and Marie or Donna, who cares, like another one of the ladies, is there, and it's raining, and they're wearing robes, and they're looking out at the rain. You know, the magic of Brazil. And then all of a sudden, there's this girl on a swing. She's just la-di-da, swinging in the rain. This dude comes up and just fucking like pushes her off of it, and then they just strip and just have just, you know, somewhat violent sex in the mud in the pouring jungle rain. What? And I was like, wait a minute, the fuck is this? Like, where these people come from? It's just two random people that just decided over on the side of the hotel or this resort or wherever the fuck they're at, just to have half violent mud sex out of nowhere.
Well, I mean,
that's our next. That's our next.
I can't justify.
That's
it.
our next shirt, by the way. Half violent mud sex, and it's Will in the rain on a swing.
Oh, God. All right.
Whispering Emmanuelle.
I'm out.
God. Yeah, at this point, it really is truly just one random sex scene after another. Like, you can't even put it together anymore. It's just like,
no, it doesn't.
I'm warring with myself over Mark. Hey, there's a guy. I'm going to fuck him under the coffee table. Like, it's literally like that. And then there'll be other people that aren't even in the movie that just show up and just grab each other and start having sex. Not even like not even like key, you know, cast members. Just Chuck, Donna, y'all ready? Let's get to it. We need more sex per minute here.
And the weird thing, like, this is just an R-rated movie, so it's not like hardcore where that's what you expect there to be nothing going on in the acting department or in the story department. It's just whatever, one scene linked to another. But this is just an R-rated movie that would have played, I don't know, I assume it played in theaters, right?
Yeah, I mean, it did get a release, like a theatrical release, so Lord knows where it played and how long. Probably just 6 shows in the greater, you know, New York, Chicago area or something, I don't know, but it did play theatrically.
There are better hardcore movies that had a better storyline than this one, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you abandon all hope of a story, really. I'm just trying to make sense of it for our purposes, but, like, this movie makes no sense. It's literally just an excuse to set up. Everything is just an excuse for the next sex scene, but it's unsexy. You know what I mean? Like, who the fuck is getting their rocks on this shit? Like, I know it's 1984, right? And you take what you can get, but, you know, like, there's no, look, kids, the internet doesn't exist yet, so this was all we had back then. This and, you know, the latest lingerie catalog that comes floating by or something, but man, oof. Smoke, I know this was one of your favorite scenes, the jungle sex, snake sex scene. What? That was another what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. It just went to, like, you see it, you see there's the scene, and then you see the snake, and you're like, are they gonna? Oh yeah, okay, they did.
Yeah. Well, it's like they're kind of having sex with the snake, but not really. It's like the snake is present during sex, you know. But the whole setup even makes no sense. It's like Emmanuelle, I think, and another lady are in a boat on a river in the jungle, and then one of them strips naked, jumps out of the boat, and then just goes running into the forest, and then cut to 2 completely different people having sex with a snake out in the middle of the jungle. It's not even the.
I thought it was going to go into territory. Now, I mentioned the Italian ones, and I know we haven't done this yet. Now, I don't even know if I've talked about this movie on the show, but there's an Italian movie called Emmanuelle and the Last Cannibals, where it crosses Emmanuelle with the Cannibal Holocaust type movies. I thought that might be where they were going for this for a second, but
no, that was just the germ of the idea to make that movie. Like, someone later on is like, we need to pick the key points from Emmanuelle IV and make a whole movie out of it. Yeah, that jungle sex snake scene, that'll do it. Yes. I imagine they're just the perviest of pervs, too, like just the nastiest motherfuckers you've ever came across in your life that are in this planning meeting. Oh, here's another good one, Donnie. When they're chased by muggers. Like, we're having fun here in the streets, and then a couple shady dudes come up behind them and, like, flick out the knives, and they're like, but we need to run. They run, split up, whoever that other guy she's with is. And then she's cornered by, like, 6 dudes. Then she just grabs a dude and just starts fucking him.
Come here.
Yeah, come here, you. Bam. Right there. And then rip book, cut to next scene. That's the explanation of it. Why did any of that happen? Fuck it. That's why. In the end, as all good things must come to an end, right? In the end, eventually she just goes back to Paris and back to Mark. So truly, we just wasted on many levels. But we just wasted an hour and a half of our life because like she went through total body reconstruction to get away from this motherfucker. And in the end, I love Mark. And then just goes back to Paris as her new body, her new self. I hope he still loves me in this 20-year-old Emmanuelle body. The end. That's it. I mean, do you have anything else to add? I mean, that was literally it. So,
yeah, glad it ended. Glad, you know, because otherwise it'd still be going on. Oh, God.
Somewhere, I think there's an alternate reality where this movie is still going on somewhere.
I was about to say, somewhere out there in the world, somebody's watching this movie right now.
The planet,
probably not
on the planet Morph. This is their favorite movie. You know, they get the broadcast. They get the broadcast from Earth, and the only thing is Emmanuelle IV, and they love it. Yikes! So
I hope they don't ever invade the world.
Yeah. That'll be what deserves. You know, that's what we deserve. That would serve us right as a species. This is the only thing that we sent to the planet Borf is this movie, and then they come and invade us because of this movie. You know,
they're like, we brought snakes.
We come in peace, but you made Emmanuelle IV, so fuck it. All right, so you know this is Cannon Fodder, so we don't do our kill count, highlight kill, gore score, all that stuff, but we still do
Cannon Connections.
All right, so this was actually pretty surprising to me. I had believe it or not, this is the very first movie we've ever done.
Whoop. Accidentally. I thought Austin showed up all of a sudden. The music started.
He's like, oh, yeah, by the way.
RKO out of nowhere, motherfuckers. Anyways, this is the first movie.
It's RKO. Yeah, he's going to, but
I prefer that.
So, but believe it or not, this is actually the very first movie we've ever done of Roger Corman.
What?
Roger Corman was a producer on this fucking movie. Yeah. And I was waiting to see if you would say it.
Well, I didn't look that hard. You know, I was just like, all right, this person's in it. This is the director. Okay, fuck it. Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
So,
well, I mean, I can see it. I guess. I mean, Corman had his hands in a lot of things. I mean, well, no pun intended.
Apparently, too many things.
But yeah, Roger Corman was he was a distribution producer.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate that this will be the first taste of Roger Corman that we get because there are some much better, at least more fun stuff. You know, like he was kind of the king of shit. You know, in a way, but
well, also but there are better things. But the thing that really, really sucks is that when we do get to those better things that he did, we'll have to do this connections episode, and this connections thing, and we'll have to bring up Emmanuelle IV.
Yeah, well,
again. So
fate is a cruel bitch sometimes. So that's what we get.
Fates.
We left it up to the fates, and this is what fate gave us. That's really it as far as our ratings. As far as like up to our ratings. Now for Cannon Fodder, we don't do a star rating. We do a cannonball rating. It's essentially the same thing. 0 to 5, 0 being the worst, 5 being the best. So just based on everything that we have done here on Cannon Fodder, and we've done some really great ones. We've done a couple of shitty ones, but for the most part, they've been pretty good. Smoke, where do you land on this one?
Oh God, wow. I mean, I know we grade things on a curve when it comes to
it is a higher scale, so to speak, as far as like you probably wouldn't rate it this high if it were a legit movie, but you kind of forgiving for Cannon, but. I will add that this is, yes, it's technically canon because they distributed it, but they didn't produce it. So,
True.
There's that, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is like, is this completely boring, first of all, for any movie, whether it be softcore or not? It's just, It was just did nothing. Like it's funny too because I can see the producers after the fact going, "Oh yeah, we put that scene that we did of the magician and all that. That's really great. Or the guys in the glass cases, it's fantastic artsy type.
Yeah, they're just high fiving each other. All right, we did it, guys.
But it's just terrible, boring, and like you said, it's just one little cut scene to get to the next, and that to the next sex scene, and that's fine if you're doing like whatever, a hardcore porn or whatever. But this is supposed to be a movie that has a storyline that's, that's just lackluster as hell when it comes to the story. So, even grading on a curve, I don't think I could give this any more than half a cannonball. It's worse to me. I don't know what we gave right now. Off the top of my head, Hot Resort. Is that the name of the one we did?
Hot Chili. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was just finding. Or no, well, there was a resort one, right? But we didn't get.
No,
we didn't get the Hot Resort.
Yeah, Hot Resort. Let's save that turd for another day. But yeah, we did do Hot Chili.
Yeah, I don't remember what I gave Hot Chili, but I know that I would rather watch Hot Chili than watch this movie.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I've got it right here in front of me. I'll tell you, Donnie, you gave Hot Chili 1 cannonball, and Smoke, you gave it 1 1/4 cannonball.
Okay. So yeah, then I'll stand by the half a cannonball for this. Correct.
Donnie, what do you say?
This movie sucks. Even take out all of the sex, this movie still sucks.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's over. I'm gonna echo Smoke's rating at half a cannonball. Hopefully, we never encounter the Emmanuelle movies ever again.
First and foremost, don't say that because we will. It's guaranteed.
Yeah.
I mean, if nothing else, we've jinxed ourselves. Especially when we leave a lot of this shit up to a wide wheel spin. It could, right? You know what? This is the worst movie we've ever done on this podcast. This is it. And that's a low bar. This is it. It's the worst one we've ever done. I don't want to ever see anything to do with this or any other Emmanuelle movie. And there might be, one of those first 3 might be better than this. I don't care. I don't want to see it. Fuck this movie. Quarter. It's got a quarter of a cannonball. No. I never want to see it again. For real. This is like looking at some of the worst stuff we've ever done. Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. I'd watch that 100 times. Home Sweet Home, I'd watch it 1,000 times, and that's the shits. They're horrible, but I'd watch them 1,000 times. I think up to this point, the actual lowest rated Cannon Fodder movie that we've done is actually Pirates from 1986.
Ooh. Oh yeah, I did. I didn't.
Yeah, you weren't there for that one. That's actually statistically, that's the worst one that we've done. And this is worse than that. By far, I'd watch that 18 times. This is
just
bad.
18 versus 1,000.
19, that might be pushing it. But you get my point. It's fucking sucks. No. And I'm usually more forgiving than you guys with this, but this is fucking terrible.
A little bit.
The sex doesn't save it. It just makes it gross.
No, it honestly is just.
If I was in my adolescent age,
1984.
Make anything interesting,
Nah, this is the shits. I never want to see it again, but it will come up. We'll laugh about it. It's unfortunate that we'll probably have to turn around pretty quick and talk about this again, at least a little bit, because we've got the Spookshow Awards. We've got the 5th anniversary coming up. So, yeah, it won't be long till we're talking about this, at least in a small way again. So that's where we're going.
Trust me, too. If we ever have to do an Italian, we probably will do an Italian Emmanuelle, but those movies are like heads and tails above this. And there are no masterpieces by any great shakes, but there is at least some meat on the bone. Again, no pun intended. There's some shit in those movies that are out there that they're just what the fuck moments and stuff like that. So there's something else there that this movie is the only American one I've seen. I don't know. Maybe I saw the first one back on Skin of Max Days too, but those are all shit compared to the Italian ones. And the Italian ones, like I said, aren't masterpieces either, but at least they're entertaining.
Well, that's enough. I'm done with this. We're going to leave that there. We're going to leave that in the canon bin, never to be watched again or only barely mentioned and whispered and hallowed ways of, oh God, not Emmanuelle IV. We'll leave it there. And maybe at some point we'll see if Will and or Austin have watched it or did watch it, and we'll get their 2 cents to see what the final consensus is. But right now we're somewhere between a quarter of a cannonball and a half a cannonball. Mathematically, we're somewhere in there. So, needless to say, this is the worst Cannon Fodder movie, I think. Going away. Don't recommend it. Don't watch it. No. Just no.
No.
That's our official statement. No, says the Spook Show. But before we completely check out, we're done with Emmanuelle, but before we completely check out tonight, Smoke, next week it's your pick. And in the rotation, you have to pick a newer flick, which means our line of embarkation for newer is 2000 to present. So what are you bringing to us next week?
Yeah, we need to cleanse the palate on Emmanuelle here.
Yeah.
And as well as some of the other, because we had some stinkers in recent episodes, right? By choice of, well, y'all had Kraft's piece to deal with Spice World. Thankfully, I didn't because I picked it.
Oh God.
But for a new one, I think I'm going to go straight to. I won't give away any of my ratings or any of my views on it yet, but it is one that I really did like. So, Mandy from Panos Cosmatos.
Oh yes.
Nice. Should be a fun one.
Number one, I want to watch that again because I saw it back in the day and I'd like to watch it again. But thank you. It's all uphill from Emmanuelle, of course, but thank you for picking something that's worth half a damn, as opposed to that movie. So good selection, good pick. I'm looking forward to watching that again. I've seen it, so we'll dive into that. That's from 2018. Nicolas Cage, awesome.
Yeah.
So
good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right.
So, and that'll be kind of like somewhat of a little bit of a kickoff to the spooky season, so to speak, because that will come out next week, on September 11th, and we're kind of going down the hill fast to everything that we've got, the big plans that we've got coming up for late September, early October, Spookshow Awards, 5th anniversary, all the big stuff that we have coming up before we get into the holidays. So, good place to start. So, for Will, who couldn't be with us, Donnie, Professor Smoke, I'm Josh. We are from the All-American Spook Show, and we will talk to you next week from Mandy.
Please replace the speaker on its rack when you're ready to leave. Failure to do so will damage both the speaker and your car. We'll be grateful, and so will the patrons who follow you.